Welcome to Season 3 of Longwood Gradcast Beyond the Degree. I'm your host, Dr. Sarah Tanner Anderson, Associate Dean of the College of Graduate and Professional Studies at Longwood University. This season, we're exploring one powerful idea, the power of people. Behind every success story, every bold step, and every meaningful career is someone who made an impact. Join us as we share stories of mentorship, leadership, and community, because when people invest in people, powerful things happen. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new season of Longwood Gradcast Beyond the Degree. This season, we're exploring a really important idea, the power of people. And what better way to kick off our season than with Alex Durand, an MBA alum who made the leap from Paris to the United States to compete as a men's soccer student athlete, and then transferred to Longwood to compete and earn his MBA in just 1 year. Today, he's the co-founder of AT Frenchies, a global content brand blending language, culture, and humor and reaching millions around the world. So, Alex, welcome to our podcast.
Sarah, thank you so much for having me. I mean, this is so exciting. When you guys reached out from your alumni school, what's some of the things that you're so proud of? So I'm super excited to kind of hop on and talk about my journey at Longwood and also what I do nowadays on social media. So honestly, this is amazing. Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's funny, some folks that we get who come on the podcast, they're a little nervous. What am I going to say? And you do this. You do this stuff all the time. This is just natural for you.
Being nervous is actually something that I actually enjoy, because that's something that when you're nervous, it's obviously for good reasons. And I don't know if I'm nervous today. I think I'm really excited to kind of share what my experience as a Longwood student was. And I hope to kind of inspire a lot of people that are doubting on whether or not to go to Longwood, and just kind of share also my experience as an athlete there, because I have so much to share with all of you.
Yeah, we are so excited to hear everything that you have to share. And I guess let's start at the beginning. So you left Paris to come to the United States. So who were the people who gave you the courage to take such a leap?
Yeah, so this is back in 2018. I was playing a professional soccer academy next to Lyon, which is in the southeast of France. And unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to turn professional. So I only had two options. The first option was to study at university in France. But unfortunately, in France, you cannot combine sports and school. You can only do one or the other. And so I started searching, what can I do to mix both? And a friend of mine was like, you should check out the American school system, because they get you the chance to have free education, but also play at a high level with super nice structures and facilities. And so I started sending my highlights to hundreds of schools, hopping on Zoom with coaches where my English wasn't the best. So I remember struggling a little bit. And then one day, a coach in Ohio was like, hey, well, we'd be happy to have you and cover your tuition in exchange for you to come and play soccer for us. And I was like, that sounds like an amazing deal. And obviously, I'd never visited the US. At least I've never visited Ohio before. So I remember finding myself in Canton, Ohio, expecting it to be kind of New York, Los Angeles, Miami. And all I saw was the Hall of Fame, the Football Hall of Fame. That was the biggest monument they had. So it was an amazing experience. I spent 2 years there, then went to Wisconsin. And then my journey at Longwood started in 2022. So that's kind of how I went from France to the US in 1 minute.
Well, that's an extraordinary journey. And I think, I'm sure that Farmville was a booming metropolis compared to anywhere in Ohio. I'm just kidding. No dig on Ohio. But we in Virginia, we know how to do things here. What did it feel like leaving home at that stage in your life and transitioning here? Who helped to make that a little easier for you?
You know what? A lot of people would say that it's hard to move from one country to the other, especially like leaving your family behind. I left my family for the professional academy, the soccer academy, when I was 14, 15. So I was already used to live away from my mom and my dad. So it wasn't really hard for me to move to another country and to be away from them. I mean, nowadays with the technology, you can FaceTime, Zoom, everything's way easier. And I think that I got welcomed so well in Ohio. Everybody welcomed me as a family member and helped me with my English. And I didn't struggle at all. I was just so happy to be there and experiencing a new culture, meeting new people. And it was, I don't remember once being in my room and being like, oh, I miss friends. I miss, of course, my friends and the food and all the stuff, but I was just so pumped to be there. It was kind of a new chapter in my life, and I was just so grateful. So now it wasn't hard, which can be weird to say.
No, I think that's amazing, and I think it just speaks to your resilience too, and the fact that you were ready. You were ready for a big change and a big shift and, willing to do what you needed to do to make it happen. So, you were in Ohio, you transferred to Longwood to play soccer, and then also to complete your MBA. So tell me a little bit about that transition. What did that look like?
Yeah, of course. Well, so as many of you know, the NCAA allows students 4 years of eligibility. And I was a student during the COVID pandemic, so they allowed us for an extra year, which allowed me to complete 5 years instead of just four. And after my undergrad, I really wanted to pursue an MBA. And it was really hard because I only had the option of either going to a 2 year program, but to 1 year as a player, and then maybe a second year as a GA, or just pay for it. And so I went through the transfer portal and talked to a good amount of schools. I mean, I remember talking to Fairfield University, to a couple schools in New York, and I was actually going to commit to a school outside, like in New Jersey. And Sean, the coach back in the days, reached out to me and was like, hey, we offer a 1 year program online. I mean, hybrid, I should say, where you can play and finish your degree and we cover your tuition. And I was like, this is amazing. Plus, the team the year before ended up being third in the conference, I believe, and had a good run with the soccer team. So this really changed my life because this allowed me to complete this within 1 year, play in some of the best fields I've ever played on. Because one thing to know about the Longwood University is that the soccer field is absolutely incredible, really well taken care of. And, the locker rooms are amazing. And honestly, I think it took me, 2 weeks to say yes. So I packed my bags and moved to Farmville. And that's where it started.
Oh, I love that, and I'm so glad that you took the chance and that you came out to Farmville and decided to take your journey in a different direction. We're so glad that you
Yeah.
came here. So you talked about the fields and the facilities and things like that. Are there any, soccer experiences or maybe teammates or coaches who shaped you while you were here at Longwood?
One thing I love the most about the Longwood team is the diversity that we had within this roster. We had people from Virginia, we had people from South America, we had people from Europe. And I remember for me, it was amazing because I got to learn so many things from different cultures and, meet new friends from all over the world with different backgrounds. And that's one thing that I was really excited about. And when it comes to the team, I was also living with my teammates. I was living off campus. And just the routine of going to practice with your best friends, the routine of going to the cafeteria, doing all these little things is still something that I miss nowadays. And then when I look back, I'm like, wow, like if I had one thing to tell young people is that playing a sport would allow you to meet your best friends, but also allow you to just go through the best experience of your life. And I think of one experience that really I will always remember is when I first came to Longwood, I had an issue with my landlord outside of campus. Somehow there was a water issue where I couldn't stay there, and the teammates were all fighting for me to stay at their place. And that's one thing that I remember is no one knew me, no one ever met me, but everybody was willing to welcome me. And that really is something that kind of set the tone on my experience at Longwood for sure.
Well, I have to tell you, and I say this for those of you who have listened to other episodes, Longwood, we're a family. We take care of one another here, and so I love to hear that, and I think that's something that makes us truly special, and I think as far as our athletics, in addition to just being a big family here at Longwood, I know that they take care of one another, and so I love to hear that. So, thinking about your MBA, were there any professors or classmates maybe who challenged you or inspired the way that you think about business today?
That's a good question. I mean, I was definitely challenged by the fact that also I wasn't really used to do online at the beginning. So I
Mhm.
guess that some of the classes online I was very scared of starting. It was my first time outside of COVID where I was taking classes online. And I
Right.
was really scared of not really learning. That's one thing I thought like, oh wow, like I'm not going to be in person. I know I get distracted very easily, especially with social media these days and your phone. So I was afraid of like kind of taking an online MBA, but not learn and not actually get knowledge from the classes. And that was the total opposite. I really felt that the teachers, even though we didn't have class in person, really did an effort of trying to get to know us and trying to make sure that as athletes, that we're being flexible with assignments, making sure we understand the concepts. And all these things were very reassuring because, we're traveling a lot, whether it's for conference games or anything. And I think that I was extremely grateful to be able to balance a high level of soccer, my social media on the side, because I was already doing social media and filming every single day, posting every single day, and then studying and then learning about real estate and about business and about the real world while partnering with actual companies. So I think that the flexibility they gave me is something that I don't think I could find that easily somewhere else, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that too, because, a lot of people think that they have to kind of put pause on their life, that life doesn't go on, that that some people are working full time, some people have families, some people are caring for children or aging parents, or they're playing sports or they're coaching. There are all these different things that you can do, and it's good to know that that flexibility piece is there so you can still do the things that you love while bettering yourself, right? Giving yourself some skill up. And we'll talk a little bit about some of that as far as your business entrepreneurship has gone. But I wanted to ask you really quickly, if you could publicly thank one person, from Longwood who really impacted your journey, who would that be and why?
Wow, I'm gonna make some jealous people here. I'm gonna have to
It's a
think.
hard question. I
I
hate to put
have
you
I
on the
have
spot.
I have really good ties with Wade Edwards,
Yeah.
because obviously, he's a Francophile and he helped me tremendously with obtaining my visa and guiding me through a lot of the challenge with the visa and all that. And I also love his stories.
Yeah.
And I think that it's one person, because it would be easy to kind of get someone from the soccer team and tell them, but really within the school, Wade is someone that I will forever be thankful for, whether it's because, he was always there for me and always willing to listen, and just he also followed me and my friend on social media. It was, love Wade, amazing person.
I love that so much, and I cannot wait for him to hear this podcast because he deserves that shout out. He is that for a lot of students, and I think that's wonderful you have thanked him in this way because he does a lot of
Yeah.
great work for a lot of
I
great students.
wish I wish I would have taken French classes with him. That's for sure. But I already speak the language. Maybe, but what it's so funny because I recently told him that I hope that one day I can go back on campus and kind of give a class with him, like a French class, or
Ooh.
that's one thing we're battling is trying to promote the French language. And
Right.
this year is the year of America 250, and I
Mhm.
think that France and the United States have such a close relationship, with our background and histories. And I think that the French language should and still should be taught in Americans, high schools, universities, especially with the heritage we have in New Orleans and many other places around the country. So, yeah,
That's
thank you,
insane.
Wade.
Aw, yes, thank you, Wade, that's amazing. Okay, so actually this is a really great transition into my next set of questions. So
Mhm.
I'd love to hear more about AT Frenchies. And you mentioned, that you had some social media stuff going on, you were making videos, that you got your MBA, you had this sort of business mindset. So you now have an incredibly thriving business with your friend Tom called AT Frenchies. And I would love for you to share a little bit about your mission, what your business is all about, because I just think it's so fascinating, and I think it's wonderful the
Yeah.
work that you're doing. So tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to try to make it as, straight to the point as possible. So, obviously, nowadays, a lot of people picture influencers as people waking up, taking their phone, filming and editing and posting. But I wish it was just that. I guess it started like that. During COVID, my best friend and I, we were documenting our life as expats living in the US, whether it was talking about cultural differences or teaching French online. Really not thinking this was going to take us anywhere. And obviously, TikTok was kind of blowing back in the days, and we started going viral very early on with videos reaching millions and millions of people almost like every single day. And that's when we realized, like, wow, we really have something that we should explore. And we were like, let's call ourselves AT Frenchies because I'm Alex, he's Tom. And obviously, like a lot of people used to call us Frenchies on our campuses. And so yeah, we started, keep teaching French and meeting people and collaborating with people. And one day we decided to open our own online French school. And then we started opening our own travel agency. And then we started helping Americans moving to France. And I think that's one thing that people don't realize is that, coming from influencers, content creator to entrepreneur is the hardest gap, because Longwood and the university has helped me a lot understanding how to negotiate, how to do accounting, how to deal with the real world when it comes to having a business mindset. And so the great thing was I was dealing with those things while still being at university. So I would basically take classes and I would basically reapply those concepts within my entrepreneur life. And that's something that is amazing. And I will encourage students to build businesses while you're still at school. And I made mistakes. I've lost money. I've lost contracts. I, sometimes took hours of brainstorming, editing things that didn't work out. But I think that is one thing that if you believe in something, or that you have a drive for something, make a business out of it. You would have never really expected like two young French guys to all do all these things when at first they didn't speak any English. And so, yeah, I think that's the big gap between creator and entrepreneur, I would say.
But that's so fascinating to know that, you learn all these things and you hope that you can tuck it away in a back pocket and pull it out when you need it.
Yeah.
But being able to use it real time like that and to engage in practice as you were learning some of those skills, I just think that's fantastic. And what a great piece of advice for young entrepreneurs to take what they're learning and practice it real time. That's awesome.
Yeah, when you think about it, like when you learn something, it's fresh, right? It's straight out of classes. So you can reapply it very easily, more
Yeah.
than if you're taking an MBA and then 6 years later you're wondering what you've learned because you forgot.
Right.
So it's like
Right.
it was a big chance, definitely.
That's awesome. So you mentioned Tom and you have been friends for a long while before
Oh yeah.
AT Frenchies,
Yeah.
childhood friends. So
Uh-huh.
I guess tell me a little bit about your relationship and how it impacted that foundation of AT Frenchies
Yeah.
and made you start creating that content.
Yeah, well, I will say one thing is a lot of people are very afraid of creating businesses with their best friends or family
Yeah.
members. It's scary because you don't want to break what you already have because of money or because of fame or whatever this is going to bring you. But I think the good thing is Tom and I have been knowing each other since the age of 12. So that was really helpful is in I know him, he knows me. We know what one needs and how we complement each other. And I think that's something that in a business partner, sometimes you don't have is I know what to say at the what time. And we know each other really perfectly. I mean, do we argue sometimes? 100%. Do we disagree? Absolutely. But I think that at the end of the day, we'll always make decisions on what's best for either, the company or us as a friendship. So definitely we're very grateful to have a business with one of my best friends. That's great.
I think that's amazing. And we've all heard that, like, please don't start a business with a family member. What if things go sideways? But to hear the story that you all have created such an incredible business, that you've kept this partnership, that you support one another, I just think that's amazing. So I guess I'm wondering too, is there somebody early on who, because obviously you all believed in the mission and you believed in each other, is there somebody early on who supported your mission and kind of helped shepherd you in that way?
So the people that believed in us early on, I couldn't pick just one person. I think that all the Francophiles that believed in the AT Frenchies message at first, and I mean all of our friends, because it's one thing is when you start social media, a lot of people are afraid of being cringe, of being awkward, or just like don't take yourself seriously when you start making videos. As long as that's something that you're happy with when the final results come out, people will talk, people will hate, People will always have things to say about people that have success but that are trying things because they aren't capable of doing it. So I think that just thank you to just all of the friends and all of the audience that first clicked on the videos and decided to watch it and support it. I don't have a specific name, but more of the entire AT Frenchies audience that were there since day one.
I love that, and I have to say, so I guess it's been 2 years now. My mom and I actually traveled to France for
Yeah.
an event for it was like the 80th anniversary for my grandfather was he was in a paratrooping unit that liberated parts of France, and it was this very personal, wonderful, historical trip for us, and so trying to prepare, I took Spanish as as a young person and did not take French. I will say though, if you have taken any other foreign language, I think it's easier to kind of, find some of the similarities as far as
Of
conjugating
course.
verbs and things like that. But anyway,
Mm.
not to totally geek out on you, but there really weren't a lot of interesting, I guess, or fun or funny, videos that could help you really acclimate yourself to the French language.
Hey,
But yours are so funny. And so when you said
thank
not
you.
take yourself seriously, to go out there and just put yourself out there, but people appreciate it because I know I've watched your videos and I just laugh and laugh and laugh. And I think, if if there were more opportunities to learn in humorous ways or accessible ways, then I think people would just jump right in and I just
All you said is exactly, you just summarized our mission.
yeah.
Make little learning French while having fun and make it accessible for people wherever they are in the world. And I think that anything you do, whether it's music production, whether it's learning languages or, learning how to be a plumber, you got to make it fun, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people quit things because it's boring, because it's not something that you're enjoying. And I think that for us, every time we film a video, there are three things we want to hit. We want to be funny, right? We want to be educational and we want to be engaging. So we want people in the comment to like talk, share.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so we know that if a video hits those three things, it will work, or at least I'll be happy with the end results.
Well, thank you for the work that you all are doing. I can't commend you enough because you do make it interesting. It's
Of
it's hilarious.
course. Of
Um,
course, of course.
so I guess to tie it back into, so you've talked about your foundation with your friend Tom being able to create this business, and then also how the MBA has supported you in the past few years once you sort of stepped out on your own as an entrepreneur. So are there specific lessons maybe that you've learned from your MBA program that you've been able to, I guess, continue to apply? Because you said you were really sort of building this up as you were a student, but I'm also interested in those things that you might have learned that kind of keep coming in handy with AT Frenchies.
Yeah, 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 of course. I think that the main thing that the MBA at Longwood has taught me is because when you're an undergrad, you're still a young adult. You're not fully like an adult. And I think that the transition between an undergrad and a grad program is first, you're in class with people who are 40 years old. You have other students in the class that are older than you that have way more experience and that you also learn from. You don't just learn from the teachers, you also learn from the people in the class. And whether it's online or not, you're still having like group tasks to do.
Mhm.
And you hop on Zoom with those people and you learn from them. And it's also amazing networking. Something to keep in mind is one of the alumni that I connected with is Travis, who used to work at the Washington Post in Washington, D.C., who I connected with. And so going back on the main topic, one of the things I've learned is really being able to be a young person, but still maintain negotiation and talking to people that have been working for 10, 20, 30 years and still being able to be listened to and respected. And I think that a lot of people think that age means like no experience or just, you have to reach every step and then get to there. No, if you want to burn all the steps and get there, you can. It's all about how you appear, how you present yourself, and the confidence you have. And I think that this MBA has given me a lot of confidence to do all these things. So when I'm sitting and interviewing the French president, for example, or I don't know, Cookie Monster from Sesame Street, a lot of people would be like kind of scared to say something wrong or to forget a line in their script. But for me, I felt like I was ready. I got taught in my public speaking class, in my communication classes, for these moments. So when I talk to these very important people, they have two arms, two legs. I can do it, and so that's something that I really took away from doing this grad program.
I gosh, I cannot love that more, and I think so much of the opportunity to network and grow and learn from your peers, but also from your faculty, I think that's something that really sets Longwood apart, but to see you using it in action in such a big public way, I think is
Yeah.
incredible. So you mentioned just a couple, like, just a couple things that you've been doing, like, no big deal. But you had some pretty amazing highlights in the years since you've left Longwood. So I would love to try to capture some of that incredible work that you've been doing.
Of
And
course.
they've really hinged on partnerships with lots of different people. So let's talk first. You've collaborated with some pretty major names. What did it mean to be ambassadors for the Paris 2024 Olympics? And then again in the 2026 Winter Olympics?
Yeah. So I would say this might be the greatest highlight of my career as content creator is the ability and the chance that I had of working with NBC and Peacock on covering the Olympics in my hometown, filming with amazing athletes, going to events and getting to do it again in Milan and potentially doing it again in my new city, Los Angeles, and then going back in 2030 in France for the Winter Olympics. So NBC and AT Frenchies, I think we have a special relationship because all the people there have given us the chance to do these things. And not every day you get to share, to be in a hotel where your room is next to, for example, Michael Phelps's room, where every morning you just wake up and go get breakfast next to him, or just, going to the 100-meter track events, or meeting like US women's player like Megan Rapinoe, or like all of these amazing, talented athletes. So that's the power of social media. Sometimes you start with an idea that you will never think that this will take you there. And I think you just got to believe and just kind of keep the fire and the passion because it will take you places you just have no idea.
Was it through social media that you were able to
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
connect? Okay.
Obviously, our audience is mainly American. So NBC was like, oh, that's perfect. The Olympics are happening in Paris and we want to cover, we're an American channel. So these guys are going to talk about how it works, and, they're going to give this humor that we see in their videos and interview our athletes because we worked very closely to Team USA. Almost every 2 or 3 days, we would meet in the NBC kind of headquarters in Paris and have athletes come. I mean, we saw Snoop Dogg, we saw Ilona Moore from the rugby team, and just getting to film with those cool people. And they're like I said, they're very, very chill and very approachable people. And getting to do it again in LA is something that I'm very excited about. Less about the traffic, because traffic is pretty crazy here, but I know it will be fun.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be amazing. Alex, that's so cool.
Thank you.
I couldn't even imagine, and the ability to do it again, every couple of years and keeping that relationship strong, I think that's a testament to the work that you all are doing as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I'll be 30 in the Winter Olympics in France in 2030. So we'll see. I don't even know if I'll still be doing social media, which I think, but we'll see what the future has in store for us.
Well, I think you're only gonna keep growing. If I were a fortune teller, I would say that you and Tom and AT Frenchies are just keep growing.
Thank you.
Okay, so you've built all these relationships. You mentioned Snoop Dogg. Like, who's just like, "Oh, I saw Snoop Dogg, like, we were just hanging out and he was chill." I'm beside Michael Phelps. It's incredible. Just interesting sort of pathways that have opened as a result of the hard work that you've done with AT Frenchies. But you also, shifting gears a little bit, you've also been able to go to some different events, like you partnered with Paris Saint-Germain. How did that partnership come about?
Oof. Well, for all the soccer fans listening to this episode, Paris is known right now for being the best soccer team in the world. I should say
Yeah.
probably football. And for me, I grew up next to the stadium when I was a kid. So being able to film with this team was like a full circle moment. And again, like last week, we filmed with the French national team in preparation of the World Cup happening in the US. And so those are my idols, right? I grew up watching them. I'm a big soccer fan. So those are kind of the moments when you're like, whoa, like I can quit social media tomorrow and feel like I've done it all. No, but it
You'll
does
be
feel
a
like it.
happy man.
Yes, exactly. And those things is actually what is taking some of the pressure away. Is I don't wake up with the idea of I have to do that or I have to reach this. It's kind of like I feel like in my head I've done it all. So like
Yeah.
now it's only like bonus. Every experience that are gonna happen is gonna be great. Let's do it. And I don't put myself any pressure. I mean, with Paris or being invited to the White House Correspondents' Dinner as I think some of the youngest, I think that Tom and I were of the youngest people invited to this dinner because we were 23, 22, being at the table with, you know, obviously a lot of big people, big journalists, whether it's CBS, NBC, or lots of news channels. It was incredible, whether it's for the networking and being also seen as more than just those funny influencers. But when you invited to
Yeah.
those events, you understand that you're making a bigger impact than just making people laugh. And so it does feel great.
Oh, I'm sure it does. And tell me, so in addition to obviously lots of correspondence from many different networks, I mean, there were some other pretty big name folks there. Who were you hanging with?
Some of the names were Colin Jost, known for I think it's SNL.
Chanel? Yeah.
Uh, yeah, his wife was with us as well at the after party of the French residence. I think it's called Johansson, if I'm not wrong. And they're amazing.
The French
Those
president, the former Canadian prime minister, you have
yeah.
all incredible people just in this space, and not only are you there, but you're invited there, that you're respected there. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, and some of that when I'm invited to those places, I feel like I'm taking a bit of Longwood with me,
You
and
are.
all of the things that I've carried on in my life, whether it's friends or establishments and the places I've been to, the little part of me that I take with me and that I feel extremely grateful for. I wouldn't be there without all these little things. So a
We are
big
very
thanks to
proud
you
of
as
you.
well.
Very,
Merci.
very
Thank you.
proud of
Thank you.
All right, so you mentioned, being in these spaces and having an opportunity to, I guess, receive some validation for the hard work that you're doing because you are funny and you are personable and the work that you do, helps people kind of with that lens. But partnering with let's say like the French embassy, how has that really helped to reinforce your credibility kind of across different spaces?
Well, we have the French embassy and AT Frenchies. We have the same message. What we want to do is share our love for French culture and the French language. And I think that it just made sense for us to being able to shake hands and say, let's make sure that we all have the same mission and that we partner on the same events. For example, in 2 weeks, I'm heading to Austin to go to an international school to talk to parents and kids about the importance of learning a second language or just keeping the heritage alive. Because nowadays, with AI, with all of that, a lot of people are afraid that people will start being more lazy and not learn languages. But I think that it's not true. I think that we still have very talented and smart young kids that are going to be able to carry on the message that we have with Tom and I and to keep this heritage alive. And I think that you talked about credibility. I don't think we partner with the French embassy for credibility because that's not something we look for. I mean, at the end of the day, if people don't think we're credible, then that's their own opinion and we respect it. But it's more because we think that thanks to them, we can reach a bigger audience and carry a stronger message. I think that's the main reason why we work with these institutes and that we're going to keep doing it in the future.
Well, and I think it comes back to that importance of relationships that have been, kind of a cornerstone for all the work that you've done over the years. So, how do you think relationships have really been a sort of a powerhouse? How have they shaped you and your opportunities and your company's opportunities?
Yeah. Relationships. It's something that it's one of the things I've learned actually in America more than in France is the power of relationships and how I hate to say it like that because it makes me seem like I only have relationships for interest, but your circle, your relationship is your new net worth because the money will take you only so far, but your friends and the people around you is something that you cannot buy. Like the friends that I have, I cannot buy them. It's the people that really, really clicked and connected with me because of who I am. And nowadays, I think that even the Longwood relationship that I have still these days, they don't have nothing to do with social media. I have, FBI friends from Longwood. I have lawyer friends from Longwood. I have CEO friends from Longwood. And all of these people, the power of being on the campus, it's something that I wish we had in France because it allows you to, in your life, be able to have no problems. I'm feeling sick. I have doctor friends. I have a law issue. I have lawyer friends. All of these things that, yes, in France we have campus, but it's not the same, right? Where with all the dorms kind of lifestyle that we're all going to eat, we're all going to do the activities on campus together. The strong bond we create is something that still these days help me a lot. It's crazy. And if there's people watching this from another country and debating on going to America for school, do it. Do it, do it, do it. That's one of the message I actually work on with the US Embassy in Paris is promoting the F1 visa, J1 visa to make sure that students know the opportunity they can have by studying abroad.
And consider Longwood University in the College of
Absolutely.
Professional Studies.
Yes. Yeah. And
Shameless
for
plug,
so many
Alex.
reasons. Absolutely. No, you're right to say that. Absolutely.
No, I love it. Okay, so now I have to ask you, I guess I just have to because somebody's gonna wanna know. But what do you think sets AT Frenchies apart from all of the other language learning content that's out there these days? What makes y'all unique?
Oh Lord. I hate comparing myself. It's one thing I always tell my girlfriend that is that I kind of hate comparing myself because it's one thing that I think can become very toxic is looking at what others are doing. And that's something that I try to not do is when I compare myself to others, I always try to do it in a constructive way. What can I learn from this person? And not, wow, that person is doing this way better than me. It's more of well, how can I grow from others? I think that what set us unique with Tom is that we have a story. And I think that's something that people cannot just come up with. We have a story because we were best friends since the age of 12. We worked so hard to move to America. We were always passionate about cultures and about languages. And that's something that you can tell when we film our videos. And I think that's the genuinity of not just filming for the fame and the money, but filming because we have a clear message and a story to tell people is something that separates us with a lot of people today online that are doing it for the wrong reasons. And so, yeah, if people want to launch a social media career, don't do it because you think there's a lot of money in it. Because, first of all, that's not true unless you're reaching millions and millions of people every day, or that you come up with a business idea and you brand yourself really well. But do it because that's something you're going to wake up to and just do it with passion. I think I've said it a lot today, but that's the big difference between Tom and I, AT Frenchies, and many other creators out there today.
Yeah, that you're passionate about it. I love it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so as you know, our podcast season this season is all about the power of people and connections. We've talked a lot about different relationships and the like, and you have found yourself in really incredible exclusive spaces. You've been able to share your story with just so many incredible people over the years. So when you're in the room with all of these different folks, perhaps global athletes or world leaders, do you ever just reflect on the people who got you there?
It's a tough question. And that's also something that I tell myself often is I think that I rarely sit down and think about that because it's so crazy that I think I will only realize it the day it's over. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
It's like I know, of course, deep down inside me that these experiences would have never been possible without one person at the very first, right? That first teacher that helped me learn English, that first teammate that helped me go through the adversity of being made fun of because of my accent, or all of these things. There's always that one person in your life that took you to the place you are. For example, that podcast, right? The first person that reached out to me, that person allowed me to be on that podcast. And I think that often humans, we forget about thinking of these things. And I think it's really important to do it. And I don't do it myself. But I think that once it's over, I'll definitely probably sit down and start reflecting on that journey. And every single person I'll probably have a book with all of these experiences
You
and
should.
mark down the person that has made that happen or was the origin of that. And maybe it's a good exercise, right? Do it on your own and think of what made you join Longwood. For example, for me, and you told me about telling names. I'll say one more name from Longwood. Sean was the assistant coach on Longwood, and I'm a short goalkeeper. I'm only 5'9", 5'10". And not a lot of people trust goalkeepers that are this short, but this guy just reached out to me and trusted me, and he's definitely a top 10 person that I will forever be grateful for in my life, to allow me to play Division One soccer in such an amazing school.
Yeah, definitely. And yes, I encourage everybody, like you say, sometimes you don't have time or things are, in the moment, you're just sort of enjoying it, just taking
Yeah,
some pause to think about the people who got you there. So thank you for sharing that
of
as
course.
well. Okay, so I guess as we start kind of wrapping up a little bit in that spirit of reflection and kind of gratitude, what or who keeps you going on the really busy days, the tough days? Who might that be? Or what might that be?
Well, obviously, like the person I'm with today, I think she's next to me, my girlfriend. It's not easy to navigate, right? Dating someone who's always on the go, always traveling, always around those big people. You always might think like, oh, like it's so easy for him to get lost in or to kind of just brag about things or think he's better than the others. And I think that she helped me feel like, staying who I am, right? Because we've been dating now for 5 years. She was dating me during my undergrad. She was dating me during my time at Longwood. She kind of saw me growing from literally a kid to an adult. And so no one knows me better than her. And I think that it's really helpful to kind of have this person that reads you and knows whatever you're doing and going through. Obviously, family. I think that they're the some of the proudest people because obviously they born you. And I think that the community, the audience, the following that we have, because without them, like I would do videos for the wall. And so
Yeah.
it's important to have a message and an audience to talk to, and also they're inspiring me because they're the ones giving us ideas. They're the ones going through those experiences that we talk about in our videos. So yeah, all these people, my teachers, those people are very incredible and important to me.
So if someone listening to this podcast has a passion but doubts themselves, what would you tell them about turning those ideas into reality? What advice might you give them?
So if I had to give an advice to someone who is passionate about something or is trying to build something and is might have some fears, my first advice is start and do it wrong on purpose. Do it wrong on purpose because you're not going to do it right. There's no way you're going to start doing something and you're going to succeed right away. I don't want to give like a basic speech of, oh, you're going to fail and you're going to bounce back and all that. But it's just true. I mean, with Tom, we had so many doubts within the last 6 years of ups and downs of should we quit? Is this something we really want to do? Do we want to take on a real job? Do we want to pursue soccer? Do we want to move back to France? Like you're going to have a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, but down the line, those are going to be the greatest rewards because you're going to work so hard. And sometimes the small victories are even better than the great victories. For example, for me, some of the small victories that I've had people coming up to Tom and I crying about how much we changed our lives. You can call this a small victory compared to meeting the French president, but I would take this 100% more than meeting big figures because those are actual emotions that you gave people. And I think that once again, do it for love. Do it for love, do it for love, do it for love. I feel like a lot of people on social media are giving a wrong message to the young generation. I mean, I'm still the young generation. I don't know why I'm acting like I'm not, but the money is important, very important, absolutely, especially in the society where we live in. But it's 10% of what's is gonna make you happy. First, be healthy, and that's something that be grateful for because being healthy is gonna allow to create a business. Be passionate about your business because that's something that's gonna go kick in, gonna keep you going, and the money is going to something that's gonna be allowing you to expand obviously, whether it's to hire people or to invest in other things. but think of health, passion, and then money. Don't think money first because you're going to fail right away.
That's excellent advice. Thank you for sharing that. I have a 12-year-old son who wants so much to be some sort of an influencer or a digital, creator of some sort. And I appreciate you saying, the message is so important for young people receiving it to know that there is a place out there where you can find happiness and love and fulfillment, and you don't have to sacrifice who you are in order to do that. So
Those are great
you
words. Amen.
I was just, funneling
Yeah.
back what you just said too, but so, I guess looking forward, what's next for AT Frenchies for you, Alex? What's next?
All right, what's next? The World Cup in the US is next. We are publishing a book with Penguin Random House in September. So that's going to be a big thing. It's actually the first time I'm saying it publicly because nobody knows about it yet. The book's going to be called, pardon our French, it's like going to be the Parisian way of a happier life. So basically, we know mental health is a pretty big topic these days. And we really want to be able to share the way we grew up as French people, this savoir vivre, this art de vivre of taking the time, putting the phone away, savoring every moment you have in life with your loved ones, enjoying the food, all these little things that we have in our culture, being able to teach that to other people, while also teaching some of the American habits that I've taken in my life that have helped me tremendously. So yeah, this book is coming out in September with Penguin. We're going to go on a book tour, and that's going to be absolutely amazing. So I guess those two things are very exciting for me.
That is incredible. So I guess so 2 follow-up questions. Number 1, please tell me it's gonna be offered in an audiobook format
Yes, of
because
course, we'll have the
I can't wait to
audio.
listen to it.
Yeah, we'll send you guys a copy for sure.
Oh, you definitely should. And then second, you should come back to Longwood's campus, and share it with our students because they would just be stoked to see you
I
guys.
would love to. And one thing I also told myself is I want to see the new basketball arena. I haven't
Yes.
I haven't been able to see it in person, but I really want to. I really want to go back on campus. I know John, my head coach, is still working on campus. Also very grateful for him. He also works in real estate, what I studied in my MBA. So I'm sure we have a lot to talk to, like a lot to talk about. Yes, it's one of the things in 2026, maybe 2027, that I'll put as a priority in my calendar for sure.
I love it, and we would love to have you back on campus, back in Farmville. All right, so last question, because you talked a little bit about how much has happened just in the past 6 years. 5 years from now, what kind of impact do you hope to have on people, not just as a brand, but as an individual? What kinda impact do you want to have?
As a 25-year-old, those are the pretty deep questions. I didn't think that far. No, I think I'll make it very simple. I think that the impact I want to have on people is I want to be able in like 30 years. I want someone to say, I started learning French because that one person, or at least those two people named Alex and Tom, inspired me to learn French or to visit France. I think that if we can have this impact on people, that's amazing. So that would be my thing. I hope that I can have thousands of millions of people taking on French or visiting France because they saw our video and that started their journey.
And I believe that you can and will. Oh, well, Alex, it has been such an amazing conversation with you today. I'm so very thankful for you popping on here and being our first guest for this season. Thank you so much for your time.
Sarah, thank you. And I guess, I haven't taught any French today, but I will end this podcast with merci, not mercy, merci, for having me and hoping to be back on campus in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Longwood Gradcast Beyond the Degree. We hope today's conversation reminded you of the people who shaped your journey and the impact you have on others every single day. Because when one person chooses to lead, mentor, teach, advocate, or serve, the ripple effect reaches far beyond what we can see. At Longwood, we believe leadership is in our blood, but it's strengthened by the people around us. Head to our website to learn more about our graduate programs and professional endorsements. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss more stories that celebrate the power of people. Until next time, keep leading with purpose.